Welcome to our session today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to those who've joined us in the past. Thanks to those who are joining us for the first time. Really great to have you along. We're going to be running through some things today that we think you should stop doing and some things that you should start doing to really supercharge your business and move forward into 2024, even though we're sort of 3 months into 2024. It's moving through pretty quickly. We're already at Easter, but there's still a fair bit of the year to go, and always a good time to stop, sit back, and have a think and enter the rest of the year with intention. Bit of a different setup today. We normally go for an hour. This one's going for half an hour, so we're going to go through some things a little bit quicker. We've also taken a few slides out because I was supposed to save some time. The stuff that's normally in those slides, which is just around the housekeeping and those sort of things, is in the chat box. You should be able to see that to the right of your screen. Feel free to have a read through any of that. Ask any of the questions in there. We'll answer them at the end. If you want to minimize that during the call, just feel free to move that off to the side. And then reopen it when you need to. All right. I think that's it. Let's get into it, Tam.
Perfect. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. You want to change, so make some. I think that this quote really resonates with me because, as we said in the promo, 90% of businesses are doing the same thing over and over again, and that will keep costing you money and time, or every single day that you're operating. So I think the reality is that if you don't spend time to look at these things and implement things, then you're not going to make any change. So as business owners, if you want a different result, you need to be really intentional. As Joe just said, let's go into 2024 being intentional with our time and what we want to focus on as business owners.
I always feel a bit funny, so I use that quite a little bit with clients, Tam, that if nothing changes, nothing changes. I always feel a bit funny saying it because it's obviously, it's very obvious as to what it means.
Mm-hmm.
But quite often it hits people like with a real smack in the face. It's an obvious thing, but we sort of tend to forget that if we don't change what we're doing, we get the same outcome. So it's always a good thing to reflect on, I think.
And that's on us, isn't it? As business owners, there's lots on our shoulders. And this, unfortunately, is another one of those things that if we don't change and if we don't lead change in our business, it's not going to happen. No one else is going to do it for us.
Yep.
Excellent. So things to abandon, what we want you to stop doing moving forward. Oops. Sorry, Joe.
All right.
Both are trying to control this situation.
That's right. So the fixed mindset is the first one, and we're going to go through three things. We're going to stop, three things to start, and that they'll sort of mirror image and reflect each other. So just bear with us as we move through those. So a fixed mindset is believing that things can't change; they are as they are. That your limits are what they are. That the expectations of your team, what your business can do, any belief really is fixed and unable to change. And it holds us back from a lot of things, Tam.
It does. It holds us back from taking risks, learning, and ultimately business growth. I think that, we're not able to learn and adapt if we've got a fixed mindset. We're not able to tackle challenges and or opportunities the best that we can because we've got these blinkers on. We're just kind of a bit scared that if we think about things or if we change things, then things are going to go wrong. But instead of, I suppose, opening yourself up, if you have that fixed mindset, you're going to hinder yourself more going forward.
Yeah, it can feel a lot safer, absolutely, doing and predictable. And as human beings, we like predictability. That's, we like things to patterns and things to flow and all that sort of stuff. And we look for that, and it's easier to go down that track. But at the end of and we don't, and a lot of the time that works, and that's why we've evolved that way. But there are certain things that need to be changed and questioned. And if you apply that whole mindset of everything being the same all the time to everything, then you are definitely missing opportunities and limiting yourself, bottlenecking things, limiting your team, putting a ceiling on things. And we see that time and time again with business owners that really move forward. And I'm not even talking about the super successful big corporates that we see, just day-to-day small business owners that we deal with. The ones that do well are the ones that are open to ideas, suggestions, and are open to trying new things.
Absolutely, they are. I think to try and tackle if you're finding yourself with a fixed mindset, because I was saying to Joe earlier that sometimes we can go in and out of this ourselves. We can have blinkers on, or we can find that we just have a bit of tunnel vision sometimes. So if you want to look to get out of that fixed mindset, you need to be open to new ideas, processes, and ways of doing things. Be open to feedback and accept that criticism from clients, from staff, from anyone in the business world. And look to always be trying to improve yourself, improve your skills, improve your staff skills. Those sorts of things will help, I suppose, break that fixed mindset down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is, some quick tips about, some common things when you can catch yourself in this is, like, we've always done it. You hear yourself say or hear someone say we've always done it that way, so that's a really common one. We always do it that way. Yeah, it's stopping you doing things like, increasing prices, putting team members on, expanding your service lines, whatever it is, because you think that it's not going to work, or you have a preconceived idea about that, and that's costing you time, money, energy. There's an enormous cost to it, and it keeps you trapped in the one spot and be incredibly frustrating.
For sure. All right, poor work-life balance. Who as a business owner doesn't feel like they've got a poor work-life balance? I feel like everyone goes in and out of this, and it's okay to go in and out of this. It's being really mindful of when it is too much. So when you neglect the importance of a healthy balance between work and your personal life, that can cause burnout and lower productivity, but also impact lots of other facets of your business as well.
Yeah, it's as you say, it's a reality of business that you go in and out of it. But being stuck in it for a long period of time impacts your business, impacts you personally. You just can't do anything as well as what if you can imagine, if you haven't got energy levels because you're not sleeping well, or you're worried about things, or your balance is out of whack and you're not getting to those things that you want to do personally or in the business. It can go either way. It makes everything a lot more difficult across the board.
It sure does. And look, it can impact your decision making, your personal relationships, your internal business relationships. Staff culture is a big one that this affects, because you as a business owner set the tone from the top. And if you're prioritizing work over anything else, then the staff are going to feel that on their shoulders as well. And you're going to put that pressure onto them, and they're going to potentially leave. We tend to find a higher staff turnover in these sorts of businesses, as well as obviously all the things that you would expect, your health and well-being and well-being of staff as well as that long-term sustainability of the business. It can't sustain, that level all the time. That's why it's okay if you go in and out of things. Joe and I are business owners. We totally understand there are busier times than there is others, but it's about stepping back when you can, and about, I suppose, setting some rules around what that looks like.
Yeah, boundaries. Exactly, and sticking to those, because we know, and we all do this from time to time. We set the boundary and allow it to move out a little bit, and we find ourselves in a position where we're getting a bit tired or burnt out, or whatever it might look like for you. And you then go back to resetting the boundary. That's a never-ending process. Like, that's going to happen, just in practice. But it's just being mindful. It's just that word intention. We're going to keep repeating that on the way through this. Just being just setting the rules with an intention to do something, and an outcome, and then I suppose adjusting and improving as you go through.
I think one thing that I've really found, Joe, to tackle work-life balance, because as we said, guys, Joe and I are business owners. We get this. This is us as well. I found that finding what fills my cup and trying to put those things in my schedule all the time. So whether it's an hour worth of exercise every day, or whether it's something like going for a walk at lunchtime, just something that I know that fills my cup will help, has helped me tackle this a little bit better.
Yeah, great tip. I think it doesn't have to be huge, and it's never that balance is never the same all the time. Like, there will be a different times when home needs you more, or away from work needs you more, and work needs you more, and that's constantly moving. So it's never a case of, okay, I've got that balance perfect, it's exactly where it is, and we'll just keep doing that. That just, we all know that doesn't work. We live one life, and we all these things are a part of it. So it's more of a case of, how do we maintain our energy levels and stop those things that are sapping it too much. Energy is the most underrated commodity. We talk about time, money, all those sort of things, and culture within a business, but energy allows you to drive all those things.
Definitely. All right, poor quality customers. So accepting customers who aren't a good match for the business, your products that you're delivering, or the services that you're offering can cause problems like dissatisfaction, more support needs, and actually cause more harm to your brand. It's a big one that Joe talks about a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because when we start, this is just a natural cycle of business. When we start business, we always joke about, business owners, the only requirement for a customer or a client coming on board is that they've got a heartbeat, and sometimes that's not the case as well for some businesses. But that's really the reality. Is when you're starting a business, you're building it from scratch. You need to you feel like you need to take on, and quite often you do need to take on pretty well anyone that's wanting to work with you. Now, the reality is, over time, that situation changes, and you build a business where you're a lot clearer about how you do what you do. You can do it really efficiently, and you're really clear about who that will benefit, and why it will benefit them. Now, what actually then happens is we forget the bit about having to take people on willy-nilly, or without any sort of criteria. We just continue to take them on, and it just fills us up with clients and customers that maybe don't value what we do, or are rubbing the team up the wrong way, or whatever it might be, and it's really damaging to the business.
It is, isn't it? And I think if you want to try and tackle this, something that is really good for you to do is list your ideal customer. So who do you want to be working with, and how do you move more towards getting more of those customers? And also ranking your customers, you choose what's relevant to your business on the ranking criteria, but A to D. And how do we start to exit some of those D clients, or how do we start to move those clients from a D to a B or a C? Is it some education? Is it calling them out if they're, harassing our staff or something like that? I think you need to just be, again, intentional about how do we deal with these customers that are no good and are causing damage to our business in various different ways. And let's put a plan in place to counteract that.
And this is by no means a wholesale, for most businesses, a wholesale removal of half your client base or customer base or anything like that. It's no, you as soon as I talk to clients about this sort of stuff, the poor quality customers or clients, immediately, and you'd say name three of them, they'll name three people just like that, straight off the bat. They know they're there, but they just haven't sort of clicked that there's the ability to be able to adjust and move that. And change the expectations. And not always is it the client's issue. It's sometimes our issue with it, as you said, Tam. Education from our expectations, and what we haven't told them, just being mindful of that. So owning it as much as you can, like with any of this sort of stuff.
For sure. Let's move into the things to adopt. So number one is the stop doing list. So we want you to do here, so it's a strategic tool that you use to identify and eliminate activities, behaviors, or habits that don't contribute to your business goals. So quite often we have everyone in business has a to-do list. Very rarely do we actually have a stop doing list. So Joe and I felt this one here was really relevant, because it can help identify that 20% of activities that you're doing at the moment that really aren't moving you towards where you need to move to, and how do we get rid of those? So do we delegate them? Do we stop doing them? How do we as business owners stop focusing on the wrong areas? Oh, I don't know if I've frozen or Joe's frozen. I will just keep going. If you do your stop doing list, it can help with improved focus, reducing stress and overwhelm, and improve that work-life balance that we were talking about before. So the stop doing list in practice. So we wanted to kind of give you some practical tips to help implement these. So get clear on what your role is in your business. What do you do that provides the most value to the business as a whole? Identify the things that you are doing that you shouldn't be doing. So are there things like that other staff members can do, or are there things that you just shouldn't be doing in general? And are there better tasks that you could be putting your focus into? What tasks are distracting you from what you really need to be doing as well? So there can be some tasks that we know that we may love doing, but it's really not the right thing for us as business owners. Evaluating and prioritizing. So what things add little to no value and are using a lot of that energy that we we're talking about there. So start there. So prioritize, I suppose, that stop doing list, make a priority of number one of, what do you need to stop? Decide and implement. So get comfortable with what you're going to stop doing. Set boundaries, set rules around that so that you can make that stick. And then monitor and review. So making sure that whatever you put in place is going to work going forward for you, and that things aren't sneaking back on that to-do list that you know you shouldn't be doing. And if that is happening, maybe making sure what you like putting some things in place around that. So did you delegate that task to a staff member, and that staff member we now need to have a discussion with, or how does that work? So just be, again, really mindful of if you're setting some boundaries or setting some rules around this, making sure that you're sticking to them. And it's a really good one to do with any leaders in your team as well. So say, for instance, you have like a 2IC, getting them to do this too, because it can be that we might be doing unnecessary administration work when there's an admin person sitting in the office that's not really doing a lot, that we can be, passing that information down to. Oh, Joe's back.
Hello. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. My internet just stopped working.
That's okay. These things happen. This is what happens on a live webinar.
Yeah.
You can run into time boxing, Joe. We've just finished the stop
doing list. Excellent. So time boxing, it's an awesome thing. Tam and I have been doing this a lot, probably over the last 12 or 18 months, and really practicing from some PD that we've been doing, and really seeing some huge benefit with it. I probably did it to a degree before, but just getting some tips and techniques to be able to take that a step further. And it helps with, I suppose, your focus and your productivity. It links to your stop doing list, because hopefully by this stage you've removed the things that you don't need to do. You're prioritizing your tasks based on what is actually on your remaining to-do list. Helps you with your time management, accountability, and it does provide some flexibility as well. You're not time boxing your whole week and just filling the whole thing with things to do.
No, that's right. I think with this, I tend to use my Outlook calendar. And look, Joe and I, every business is going to be different, and every business owner is going to have a very slightly different mix of what they need to do in their week. Joe and I have a mixture of internal meetings, client meetings, and various different things that we need to get done during the week. So we start with those. So creating that weekly schedule. So fill in the non-negotiable items. So meetings, tasks that you need to complete. Then create a list of your to-do items and pick the 5 most important tasks, both strategic and operational tasks, and estimate how much time it takes to complete them, and try and put them into those gaps. Then, again, batch the similar or smaller tasks together and try and create a time in the day to do those. So emails, phone calls. We all know, particularly with emails and phone calls, how easy it can be when you're sitting at your computer and you're trying to do a task, and you get this ping and this email comes in and you lose focus and you go and you deal with your email, or phone call rings and you pick it up and you get distracted. So I think, again, in this time boxing, if you allow yourself time in the morning and in the afternoon to check emails, to return phone calls, you will then, again, be more intentional with your time and just allocate that time and be super focused in when you're trying to actually complete a certain task.
Because you could just be on the phone or doing emails all day. Is the reality for a lot of people. And yeah, if you're doing that, then you're not getting any of the other stuff done. You can be very busy, but not very productive.
Absolutely. And I think that you then need to just keep improving and reviewing. Joe, do you want to step us through that weekly raw that we do?
we might, just in the interest of time, we might leave that.
True.
That's yeah, I reckon. And if you're interested in knowing more about that, just reach out, because it is a very useful process to go. So I've just started a client on a new process, or part of their new process last week. Spoke to them this morning. They got a lot out of that just doing it once. So
Great.
if you'd like to learn more about that, send us an email or get in touch, and we'll let you know how that looks. Just remember Parkinson's law as well as part of that. Work expands so as to fill the time which is available for its completion. So try just give us a try. Just a bit of a, it's interesting. Pick a task with one of those tasks that you're time boxing. Estimate how long you think it will reasonably take you to do that. Halve it, and then try to get it done in that time, and just see what happens. We tend to commit more energy and get things across the line quicker if we know there's a deadline and we know there's a shorter amount of time. You'd be amazed how often when you do this, you can actually get it done pretty close to half the task done pretty close to half the time, or within half that time. So imagine applying that across how many tasks you've got. It doesn't work with everything, but just keep that in mind for you and your team as well.
All right, customer centricity. So placing value of the customers at the core of your business decisions and actions. So making sure that the products and services meets or exceeds their expectations, I suppose.
Yeah, so it obviously improves customer satisfaction, loyalty, and retention. Get your brand out there and creates a really good name in your community, and obviously leads to higher profits and market share. Staff are generally more engaged in there as well if clients are enjoying coming, or customers enjoying coming in and enjoying the experience, and then quite often if they're creating an enjoyable experience for them, they're having a good time as well. So really key thing at the moment. Price and CPI increases, the general economy, everything's going up in value. People are more discerning with their buying decisions. You're going to need to create a bit of a difference here, and this is more than ever. People want to be the center of your universe.
They really do, don't they? So I think if you want to pop this into practice, you really need to understand your customers or your clients. So you need to talk to them, understand what they're looking for, what they value, and what they don't value. This can be done formally or informally. So you can be having conversations with them. You can be doing a survey or something like that. Your staff can be, gathering data for you as well with feedback. You just need to be putting a focus on them in every single step of your business processes. Isn't that right, Joe?
Yeah, for sure. And you can do that down to the nth degree if you think really big corporates and all that sort of stuff. I heard a quote recently, or reheard a quote recently about the fact that people aren't judging you. Your customers aren't judging you on your competitors. They're judging you on their experience with the best businesses out there. So your experiences with, if you use supermarkets to order online and get things delivered to you immediately, Amazon, same day delivery, Uber, you hit a button and a car turns up. That's what they're expecting. So they're not judging you against what another tradie can do, or what another retail shop can do, or whatever. They're judging you against those really great experiences they're getting elsewhere. So just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. All right. So remember what we said earlier today. If nothing changes, then nothing changes. So what one thing are you going to adopt, and what one thing are you going to abandon that you've learned today?
I think just starting with one change. Amy's putting a thing up there we're just going to pick the one thing, which is adopting. So she's giving you 3 options there. Which one of these would be more applicable to you? The stop doing list, time boxing, or customer centricity. So if you can put an answer in now, that would be fantastic.
I think with all of these webinars, Joe and I always speak to everyone about, don't try and change the world in one day. Just try and just choose one thing and focus on implementing that. Because if you try and change everything that we talk about in a webinar or one of our sessions, you're just not going to make much of a, I suppose, difference. You're going to start something and you're going to stop it pretty quickly.
That's right. And take that magic step. To book in it, we spoke about that as well. Book in a time to action the next step. we've got a little bit across the board for all those options, which is fantastic. So taking that magic step, booking the time to action it. So what's the next thing you need to do in order to do that thing, and then tell someone you're going to do it and ask them to hold you to account for that, whatever that looks like for you, whatever you're comfortable with. But don't say you're going to do something and then not do it. Be integrous to yourself as well. And if someone else is involved in that, generally speaking, you're more likely to hold yourself accountable to that as well.
Oh, we've just done that poll. Do you want to go through this Eisenhower matrix?
Yeah, just very briefly. We've touched on this in the past. It's that whole 4 quadrants, urgent versus important, and really we're saying that we don't want to get stuck and trapped in the top left box all the time, that important and urgent box, because that's the busy but not productive box. You basically it's like sitting there and answering your emails and phone calls all the time. So some roles will require that, then that's fine. But as a business owner, you've got to do more than that, obviously. And really, it's probably more focusing on that. The other important part of this is just focusing on putting some stuff in that quad 2 box, so important but not urgent things. So that's more the strategic stuff, things you don't have to do, but if you do them in the medium and long term, that will make a big difference as well. All right.
Afterwards, we are going to shoot you a free ebook. So this one here is what to adopt and abandon. So we've gone through 3 of the things to adopt and 3 to abandon today, but there are 10 in each section. So make sure you jump in there so Amy's just actually put it into the download. So you can download it now, or you will also get an email with that afterwards. So if you've got any questions when you're reading through that, you can shoot us an email. But I went through this with my BizIQ group last week, Joe, and there was a lot of, discussions that came out of reading that document, which was really great.
Yeah, perfect. And then how can we help with the stuff? We've got 4 levels here within the advisory part of our business, and broadly they are the strategy sessions. They vary from a whole of business strategy to focusing in on particular things, whether it be workflow process, succession planning, whatever that looks like. We've got a process that we can take you through to help with that. PTP BizIQ, Tam just referred to that, formerly Growth Hub. We've got a group in Melbourne / Geelong, group in Shepparton. We've commenced that this last week, so around the first session in Shepparton. If you're interested in joining that, that's a quarterly group session to, I suppose, help bring your understanding up and awareness, and also to collaborate with a group of your peers. Profits Plus, that's our next one of those. First one is just finishing up. Our next one commences in July. 6-month program. You can jump in at any time, and it takes you through the basics of understanding your numbers and what levers to pull in your business to make a difference. And then our one-to-one coaching, which we do with a number of clients, which is that accountability, working through that strategic plan across a 12 months, 3-year, 5-year period, and helping you stay accountable and on track.
So there's 3 stages of business improvement. So there's that base level, which is understanding the financial knowledge and awareness within your business. The next step up is understanding your strategy. The top step is overcoming fears and limiting beliefs. So some of the stuff that we discuss in these webinars are really in understanding your strategy, but how to overcome your fears and limiting beliefs. And that's, I suppose, what today's been based upon.
Yeah, and if we look at those things we mentioned before, Profits Plus really takes care of that bottom part of that, along with our accounting team and working with your managers in that space. Understanding your strategy, that's probably more that strategy session bit and getting your head around that, and then the coaching and the webinars, as Tam said. BizIQ helps with that, overcoming the fears and limiting beliefs. So it gets you through all of that to a point where you can open yourself up to all possibilities and put things into play and really take your business to the next level. That's where we are. Obviously, we just spoke through that, and we've got our bookmates, our tax compliance, and PTP Wealth, which all of those together help us work together to create dreams worth fighting for our clients.
All right. Is there any questions? Does anyone have any questions before we jump off? We're right on that, half an hour mark. I think we've done really well, Joe, to keep it in half an hour this session.
Questions or comments. If anyone has any comments or thoughts about anything that we've discussed, please feel free to put that in the chat. We'll hang around for another minute or so. Thank you while we're waiting for that. Thank you to those who have attended, and and come along and had a listen to this. Really appreciate it. And if you do have any questions after this or anything that pops up, please feel free to reach out and have a chat. Thanks to Amy as well for helping run this thing in the background, and Tam for presenting and putting all of the presentation together as well.
No problems. Thank you, Nerida and Lisa, for your feedback. That's great. We'll shoot this around afterwards. I don't think there seems to be any questions. So we'll shoot it around for everyone, the recording. And we hope that you have a great rest of the day.
Awesome. Thank you.
See yous.